Welcome to the Switchblade Sisters Social Club, a true crime podcast where two sisters exploit their worst fears for your entertainment. You're welcome. I'm Dee.
And I'm Rhonda, and together we are the Sake Sisters. For more information, check out our website at www.switchbladesistersocialclub.com or find us on Instagram and Facebook at Switchblade Sisters Social Club.
Thanks for listening.
Let's go.
Hi. So we are Switchblade Sisters Social Club, and my name is Dee, and that is an indication of how today's probably going to go, because I am hungover and tired because it is the 1st of January. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Yeah, I can't believe that this is the last episode I'm presenting of the season. How did that happen? I don't know. And I'm really excited because it's a good one. But first, let me show you my jumper. Your Mum. Not to be confused with another band called Your Mum. Remember when Jim?
Yeah, I do. You just reminded me.
This one is Why You Are Mum. Check them out. They're so fucking cool. Husband and wife team from Brazil, and they're so awesome. They're just so fucking cool. It's like relationship goals. Being just a cool, fucking adorable, awesome couple in a band making cool music.
So where did you see them? Last night?
Yeah. So I went to Signature Brew in Walthamstow with my friend James and Leslie and stuff. It was really nice. It's Walthamstow, E17. So obviously I had to make lots of E17 jokes, which I'm sure they've all heard before, but I was telling James,
East London. Oh my God.
I know, it was a fucking trek.
Paris. You can get to Paris.
Signature Brew is awesome. Love you guys at Signature Brew. The venue's awesome. I'll post some pictures on social because it was a really cool night. But I was telling James, if we miss the last train, it's all right. We can just stay another day in the House of Love.
Did you pre-rehearse those?
And he said, I don't think I could take the pain.
Oh my God.
So yeah, so it was a really nice night. Saw a guy performing called Jamie Lenman, who's really cool as well. Check him out. And also In Me, which is another band that we've been seeing for years.
They sound familiar.
Yeah, I'm sure you and I have seen them.
Yeah.
But, you know, they've been around for ages. So yeah, so it was really, really cool. And
I had a Denzel Washington marathon.
Oh, nice. What did you watch?
He's my new crush.
Would he cause you any trouble?
Do you know what? He's no trouble. And that's what I kept saying to Jim. We were watching it. I said, you know what? Denzel Washington, he's no trouble. Because you know why? He's been with his wife almost 40 years.
Oh, were you Googling him at the same time?
Oh, I mean, who doesn't Google? Who doesn't Google when they're watching something? I don't understand how people don't Google stuff.
Yeah.
Who, you know.
What did you watch? What Denzel?
Oh, God. Oh, I love it. And is it Denzel or Denzel?
I don't know, but I like seeing Denzel.
Yeah, Denzel. I love him. Oh, my God. So Equalizer 1, 2, 3. Love.
Okay.
Love. I found him really interesting. The character, really interesting. And I Googled whether he was autistic. Obviously, he's not a real character, but online it said he had OCD, which I found really interesting because, yeah, watch it.
Because you have OCD.
Lots of little interesting nuances. And then I watched Two Guns with Marky Mark. I watched a few others. I can't actually remember what else I watched. It's such a blur. But yeah, Denzel is my new Liam Neeson. And
nice.
He's no trouble.
Nice.
And he speaks so nicely about his wife. Oh my God. Yeah, love him. Cute. Denzel. Okay, tell me the fucking story.
I'm going to tell you the fucking story. You're going to love this one.
Okay.
Because you've mentioned it recently.
Ooh,
and that
almost fell off my chair.
So excited.
I fell down the back of the bench.
I'm going to tell you a headline from this case, and you tell me if you can guess.
Okay.
Cyber sex to death at age 22.
The fuck?
Shitty headline, like fucking sensationalist headline, isn't it? But, okay, so my main source is a documentary from 2009, director Barbara Schroeder, and there's a movie by the same name. with Courtney Cox, and the documentary and the movie are called Talhotblond.
Shut the fuck up. Is there a film?
Yeah,
A
I
film
didn't
about
watch
it?
the film, but we're gonna have to watch the film.
Oh my God, where can we watch the film?
Ugh, well, I didn't watch the film because it's hard to fucking find because it's a TV
Oh,
movie.
oh. Speaking of which, our new friend Jane sent me a message saying that there's an app where you can find out where anything that you want, where to watch it. And we'll do that in the
Oh,
people's
that's
pulse. But yeah. So
yep.
yeah, oh my God, there's
That
a
in
film
our
about
socials. That's useful.
okay.
All right, so we are
Oh my
talking.
God, oh my
Because
God.
remember, you mentioned it in the Jinx episode, in the last week's
Do you
episode.
know what? I've mentioned Tall Hot Blonde so many times, I think, because
It's
it's The
such a
Jinx and Tall Hot Blonde. And those were the two fucking true crime documentaries that I ever started watching. And then that piqued my interest, the fucking madness of it.
because there's like a recent escalation of the number of true crime documentaries and stuff. It's definitely having a a moment, you know. But those two were kind of earlier on.
Hmm.
And so good. But yeah, this case is fascinating. And I just thought, oh, do you know what? I bet Rhonda would really like if I covered the case for her and reminded her of all the details.
Yes, because I saw it like, I mean, more than 10 years ago, so I
Yeah.
want to hear it
So
again.
2009 is when it came out,
What's the Courtney Cox film
which
called?
sounds like it's fucking ages ago, which doesn't sound like that long ago, but is actually fucking
A whole different, like,
14
cult.
years ago now.
Yeah, where the world had a different culture.
Yeah. So the
I
movie is also
don't.
called Tall Hot Blonde.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So this case is 2005, 2006. So the documentary came out a couple of years after the actual case. So
Mm,
again, it's not that long ago, but it is also almost 20 years ago. So it's like
mm,
5 minutes ago slash 20 years ago. It's that
mm.
time period, you know?
You know, kind of how I measure time,
How?
pre Me Too, post Me Too.
Yeah, that's a,
Because do you know why? Because that's why I mean what I mean about like the culture was different, where what you would see, I mean, the Daily fucking Mail is still horrific to women, but um I feel like celebrities were reported on differently. Like I think Britney Spears and her breakdown would be handled differently now than it was back then. She wouldn't be villainized for having mental health issues.
issues. Yeah.
And obviously with Me Too, men are hopefully find it harder to fucking get away with being fucking
Yeah.
pervs, you know. Now, so anyway, so that's how I kind of measure time, pre and post, a
Yeah.
little bit like
Because
BC.
it trickled down, didn't it, to the rest of
Mm,
everyday society in terms of what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, in terms of how you treat women.
mm.
Still not ideal, but we're getting there, hopefully. Anyway,
Okay, story.
so a lot of this is set so it's near Buffalo.
Hmm.
I cannot ever hear the word buffalo or read the word buffalo without going to
Tatanka.
Buffalo. Oh, 90.
Yeah.
So there's a factory, the Dynabrade factory, which like steel works or something. Fuck knows, anyways, factory. And two men work there, Brian Barrett, age 22, and Thomas Montgomery, who is about 47, 48. Brian was working in the factory, but also studying to be a teacher. And Thomas Montgomery was one of the machinists. He had two young daughters and a wife. He wasn't happy with work, but he had like family commitments, so he couldn't really explore his options. You know, he had obligations, let's say. He had been a Marine in his younger years, but he never saw combat. But he did develop a drinking problem in the Marines, which I'm not surprised because some of the stuff that they must
Mm.
teach you, train you, even if you don't see combat, what you must have to prepare yourself for. But he did get sober when he had a family, and he taught Sunday school. So, upstanding member of the community,
Mm.
which we know there's no such thing. Um, he was viewed as awkward by his colleagues, which, no judgment there, right?
Mm. Usually makes us like people more.
Yeah. I mean, there was no reports of him having a nickname like the rapist at work or
Mm.
something, but yeah. So he'd been married for 17 years, and there were reports about him being impotent. Um, he had, so how cringy this is. He had talked to ministers at the church about the impotence, and they told him to communicate with his wife. She's like, obviously that is good advice, but I mean, well, it's just cringy. He was basically lots of people reporting that he seemed unsatisfied with life, and him as well. He's interviewed in this documentary, and he openly admits that he was looking for, I guess, excitement or something, you know? He went down the road of online gambling and playing online poker. And he would often use these platforms to talk to people as well. Now, I have to admit, I've never really done much online gambling or gambling in real life. But I know that they have like chat rooms. So you play poker in these rooms where you can actually talk and interact with the other people. And he said that he'd like to talk to these people because they were anonymous strangers, which again, I totally understand how sometimes it's easier to talk to people that are totally disconnected from your life, right? So he was online and he was playing blackjack in a room one day. And obviously all these people have screen names. His was Marine Sniper. And he starts talking to Talhotblond. And Talhotblond always makes me laugh because it's actually tall with one L, not two. And also no E at the end of blonde, which bothers me because if you're a female with blonde hair, you're normally blonde with an E at the end, aren't you? Anyways, that's not the worst part of the story. So he starts speaking to Talhotblond. Apparently Talhotblond told him that he was in a kid's room. And I was like, what? A kid's gambling room? Because they
I
have
don't
very
remember this. I don't remember. Do you know what? I'm excited because I don't remember any of these details.
I figured you'd forgot a lot of the
Mm.
details. So I don't really understand how there's an online kids gambling room, because especially in the States, they're quite conservative with their gambling. I mean, there's whole states where you're not allowed to gamble. So even if you're not playing for money, I don't know why he believed that this was a kid's room. Anyways, maybe it's to justify his next action, which was to pretend that he was 18 and not 47. So he starts talking to Talhotblond, who was 17, 18 at the time. And she starts sending him pictures, and there are pictures of her in her bikini. And this girl is stunning, you know, the pictures of Talhotblond. So let me at this point show you a picture of Thomas Montgomery. You want to see? Remember? Bear with me. That's him. And this is Talhotblond.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. But clearly a very young adult, you know? I couldn't find some of the original pictures that she put in the, you know, that you could see in the documentary. But like I said, she looks like a very young woman. She's 18. She's only just an adult, you know? So Marine Sniper, Thomas Montgomery, pretends he basically adopts this online persona of Tommy, who's a little bit himself as a Marine when he was, you know, 18 or whatever. He pretends he's a 6-foot, 18-year-old Marine off to go to boot camp. And he says he could say what he wanted to online to someone he was never going to meet. Talhotblond's real name is Jesse, by the way. So I'm just not sure if I'm going to be referring to them as their screen name or their real names. He opened up to her, but I mean, how much he opened up with the truth is questionable, because he's already pretending to be an 18-year-old. So he's not going to be talking about his wife of 17 years and his kids, is he? So like, what the fuck? Or his impotence at age 18. I think he just enjoyed the excitement of talking to like fresh meat, and you know, it gets stale in a relationship. No one's denying that, but you know.
And also just creating like a fantasy world, isn't it?
Exactly that. So they were clearly discussing personal, intimate things. Like he never felt love since his mother died when he was young, and that he had suicidal ideations and stuff. So they did talk about some deep stuff, and I'm sure there were elements of truth to some of it, right?
Mhm.
He eventually starts sending pictures of himself as well, but obviously they're not real photos. They're mainly photos of him, but 30 years ago when he was actually an
Mm.
18-year-old
Oh, so he
Marine.
was using pictures of him. Okay, okay, okay.
And I was like, surely they looked
Yeah,
30
retro.
years old. Yeah,
Those old
exactly. But
photos look
maybe
old.
he pretended, oh, I put the Instagram filter on. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in the documentary, there's a guy that pops up regularly, and I couldn't work out how much of involvement he had in the original case, but basically, sorry, I've got my hot water bottle, and I've got these awesome long ones, which I gave you one.
Yeah, matchy.
Yeah, they're just so nice to hold and to put on your belly and stuff. Anyway, so this guy is called Rex Bieber. He's a clinical psychologist, and I think he's my case crush.
Oh.
Just because he's quite funny. You know, we love a funny guy.
Mm-hmm.
He says, surprise, surprise, that Thomas was depressed and looking for stimulus, like serotonin and dopamine hits, right? And the fantasy was helping him. I hate this phrase, but they said at one point in the documentary that she lost her online virginity to him.
Ew.
Ew. And she used to send him stuff like personalized jewelry and her panties.
Mm-hmm. I remember that bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Thomas Montgomery had to regularly think of excuses of why they couldn't meet.
Did they
Which
live in the same state?
no,
Okay.
he lived in Buffalo, which is all I can think is Buffalo, Tatanka, but that's not a state. What? Ohio? What state is Buffalo in?
New York.
Oh yeah, Buffalo, New York. Yeah. So he's in New York and she was in um West Virginia or
Oh,
something.
okay. So
So
not too far.
not too far, but quite far. It's
Mm-hmm.
not just up the road. This reminded me of Becky Holmes again. I know I've talked about her on the podcast. She's someone I interviewed on on another podcast called Women Who Rebrand. She was the amazing lady who catches out online romance scammers.
Mm,
Remember?
yeah.
Um, she's the one who had gone on a trip to Iceland with her mum, so that she had loads of pictures of her in the snow and her getting in helicopters or whatever. And so she pretended that this one guy was like supposedly on an oil rig and needed money to get off the oil rig to come see her. And she's like, never mind, I'll come and see you. And sending him pictures of her journey to see him, like
Mm-hmm.
getting on the helicopter and blah, blah, blah. And him panicking, like, no, don't come here. But she was talking about how these are common ploys for catfish, that being in the military and working on oil rigs, because they are great excuses
Oh,
for why they can't
yeah,
meet.
yeah.
And also potentially why they might need money from you if they're trying to not just,
Fuck.
because there's loads of catfish,
Mm-hmm.
loads of people online who just want like attention,
Mm-hmm.
ego boost, naked pictures. And
Mm-hmm.
then there's the ones that also want the money, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So keep an eye out. Because I remember when I was online dating being like, why are so many military people wanting to talk to me? And I was like,
Oh,
are they fetishizing me because I'm Palestinian? But now I think it's just,
God, I didn't know that about using that as a ruse. Mm-hmm.
and oil rigs, it makes sense because you'd be like, oh, of course they're trying to online date. They're lonely. They're fucking working on an oil rig in the middle of the
Mm-hmm.
ocean.
Perfect excuse for people who have two families, huh?
Exactly. So yeah, just keep an eye out. If someone's got very convenient built-in excuse about why they're not available, you know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
just be a bit skeptical, let's say. Um, yeah, so do check out Becky Holmes at Death to Spinach on Twitter. Also, her book, Keanu Reeves is Not in Love with You, is also out in January. So this month. So I'm really excited about that. I can't wait to read it. Because basically, one of the people, I think the story was one of the people that approached her online was Keanu Reeves in
Oh.
quotation marks. So we'll post the book and the link to the book
Yeah.
and everything in socials because I can't wait to read that. It's going to be she's hilarious. And it's obviously a very serious issue. So she does bring up very, very, very interesting things in this world where it's very common to meet people online, and that's great and it's wonderful. Like when we talked to Honor, right? When we did an interview with Honor, which will come out soon. It's a beautiful thing that the internet brings people together who wouldn't ordinarily meet, but there's also so many dangers and new dangers that you just have to keep an eye out, right? So anyways, it reminded me of that. He had to keep on thinking of excuses of why they couldn't meet. So he was going to boot camp, and at one point he goes to actual combat and blah, blah, blah.
So she's wanting to meet. She's wanting to meet up.
Well, he's giving her reasons why they can't meet up.
Okay.
And she's like, okay.
Yeah.
So basically, Tommy was living the life that Thomas Montgomery wanted to, you know? He even talked to Jesse as his dad while Tommy was out of action online, meaning on duty. So there's like a web of deceit forming here, right? Thomas Montgomery was obsessed with Jesse Talhotblond. They would be up all night texting, and then he would be waking up first thing in the morning to go to work, you know, doing Sunday school, fucking driving kids to school or whatever. They talked for about 6 months. And Tommy even asked Jesse to marry him when he got back from Iraq, which is like, what a dick for an old man to be playing that much with a young girl's emotions. Because now it's like, okay, you're not just having a little fling, online fling. You're not just being a bit pervy. You're fucking asking her to marry you.
Do you know what? It's just he obviously became a little delusional about what's reality and what wasn't, because I guess 6 months down the line, you know how they say when you lie so much you begin to believe it, you know?
Oh yeah, he
in
was,
his
I
mind,
think
he probably started to believe a lot of this alternate reality.
Yeah. Bieber, my case crush, says that Thomas wasn't addicted to the internet. He was addicted to love. And even pathological love is an incredibly powerful force. So Montgomery even wrote himself a note and hid it at his at work in his locker, where he talks about how Thomas 46 is turning into Tommy 18 with a massive cock, which just goes to show he's like losing touch with reality, isn't he? Meanwhile,
I mean, it could be also people often who've been in the army maybe have PTSD and stuff, don't they?
Well, he never faced combat, so I mean, it could have been traumatic also, but yeah, he kind of just get the impression that he's bored with his life, borderline depressed. I mean, I'm not a psychologist, but you know, clearly has had issues if he's had alcoholism and so forth. And this was just super exciting to him, you know? Anyways, so meanwhile, his wife, Cindy, who's my girl crush of the case, she's getting suspicious, right? Because like all of a sudden he's probably on his phone or the computer constantly, staying up all night, probably really like he can't be functioning in the same capacity in his real life if he's up all night and stuff like that. So Thomas knew he had to end it with Jesse because he actually had a heart attack because of stress. And so he says like this was obviously a big contributor because he's now living 2 lives, right?
Yeah.
Cindy, meanwhile, poor woman, can you imagine this? Finds the package with panties that Jesse sent to Tommy. Ugh, I mean, bad enough to find out your husband's having some kind of affair, but to find out in that way just feels like the grossest way, right? Ugh. So, and can you imagine having like, I think his kids were sort of teenagers or young teenagers. Can you imagine having daughters with a guy who's like fucking with an 18-year-old girl?
Oh, God.
It's just...
Yeah.
So Thomas tells Cindy that he finds it easier with someone online, but she wants a divorce. And she actually, bless her, writes a letter to Jesse with a picture of her and her family. She tells Jesse that Thomas Montgomery, her husband, is taking advantage of Jesse. Cindy warns Jesse about trusting people online. Like this letter, you wouldn't blame her if she was like, you fucking slut, blah, blah, blah.
But having teenagers herself, she obviously sympathizes with this, with Jesse. because she knows the mentality of a teenager, you know?
Yeah, and also I
I
don't
don't.
know at this point if she knew that her husband was pretending to be an 18-year-old single
Mm-hmm.
guy. Do you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So like Jessie isn't doing anything wrong. She thinks she's just talking to someone her own age.
Mm-hmm.
Single.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I don't remember whether he'd confessed to that. But I think he did because like yeah. Um I mean like what a fucking legend, right? Like I don't know, I just that's so fucking noble, the fact that she must have been hurting so much and she's like, I want to actually I don't think she wrote that letter at all out of spite or anger
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. It was literally to protect this young girl,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is just really admirable. Um, Jessie was shocked when she got the letters and she asked Thomas why he had lied to her. She was disgusted that she'd been sexting an old man, right? Thomas felt some relief because he no longer had to lie, at least. Um, but Bieber, the clinical psychologist, says that Tommy was not relieved. So
Wait,
Tommy,
Tommy, 18-year-old Tommy. Oh
yeah,
God. Okay, it's getting confusing. I forgot this whole part of the story. Okay.
yeah. So basically, Thomas, the actual real man, was relieved he didn't have to lie anymore. But that persona, that alternate persona of Tommy, Marine Sniper, the 18-year-old boy,
Mm-hmm.
that persona wanted life, you know? He's like become a part of Thomas's personality that gave Thomas joy. So yeah, let's make this really gross relationship
Oh
a
God.
really gross love triangle now, okay?
Okay.
So again, I don't do the online poker thing, so I find it weird, but one of the other regular people in the chat rooms was Brian Barrett, who I mentioned worked with Thomas Montgomery.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, there's quite a big age difference between these two, so they were colleagues, but they weren't friends, they didn't hang out, whatever. But for some reason, they would find themselves in the same poker room. So I don't know if
Mm.
you can request to play with the same people or what, right? Like it's just weird, isn't it?
No idea. Never ever
Anyway,
played.
so Beefcake, aka Brian Barrett, used to also find himself in these poker chat rooms. And Jessie knew that the two of them worked together. And so she would regularly ask Brian questions about Thomas,
Mm-hmm.
especially after the truth was revealed. Wouldn't,
Mm-hmm.
you'd be like, tell me fucking everything, what's going on here? But then she starts sending pictures to Brian Barrett as well. So she starts sending him like bikini shots and all of this, that, and the other. And guess what? They start flirting and they fall in love. Um, Brian actually described her as a world-class flirt, very ready to sext.
Do you know what I just remembered? Like in the documentary, you get to read the exchanges, don't you?
Yeah. So I
And
put some of them.
it's like with Sweet Bobby, where if you actually saw these, you can see how people get sucked in into believing it's real. There's actually no
Yeah.
indication that the people they're speaking to are not who they claim to be.
Yeah. And they're talking for a long time over a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So so Jessie very clearly was using her relationship with Brian to get back at Thomas, because she would regularly, and these are some of the exchanges you hear in the document, you can read in the documentary. She would regularly go back to Thomas, who she now knows is a 47, 48-year-old man, and tell him about her new relationship with Brian to make him mad. Um, one of the exchanges made me want to throw up. And granted, I had COVID at the time and I was super nauseous, but I think it would have made me want to throw up anyways. But so a couple of weeks after the truth is revealed about Thomas and Jessie learns that he's actually this middle-aged man, she sends Thomas angry messages saying that she's mad at him and how could he do this, etc., etc. And she says basically that she's using Brian to make him angry. She then sends him a message saying, can you do me a favor? Don't let Tommy die. Thomas says, Tommy will live on as long as he is in your
Oh,
heart.
oh, fuck. Oh,
It's
God.
like, stop it, old man.
Mm.
And then Jessie says, let him live in you. Ugh. Ugh, gross.
Yeah.
So Jesse's still mad and she wants revenge. Um, and Brian was used to sort of target Montgomery, Thomas Montgomery. Um, and they managed to target Thomas. They managed to get him kicked out of the gambling platform, saying he was a predator online because he had lied
Mm-hmm.
about his
Mm-hmm.
age to talk to young girls.
Mm-hmm.
Brian told people at work what had happened, which I can't imagine Thomas Montgomery, who teaches at Sunday school, is very happy about him lying about a teenager,
Mm.
lying to a teenager about his age and online cheating with his wife. Again, Sunday school teacher. Finally, one day, Brian and Jesse plan to meet. So Brian was going to drive to West Virginia to meet Jesse. And Thomas was fuming about this because obviously he would never have had the opportunity to actually meet Jesse,
Mm-hmm.
because he has his whole family commitments. There's no way he's fucking going to West Virginia. Whereas Brian is a 22-year-old man. So why not go and visit an 18-year-old who lives a little, a couple of states over or whatever? As it happened, this visit never happened. But when Brian was about to visit Jesse, Thomas starts sending really disgusting messages, and these ones are just gross. So I'm really sorry about this. Like, I
To
found it.
who? To who?
He says to Brian,
Mm.
tell your cum-sucking, N-word loving little whore to stay the fuck out of my life. It's like, where
I
the
mean,
fuck? Why are
predictable.
you angry? Why the
Yeah,
fuck
you
are
know
you
what?
angry?
Predictable maybe sounds harsh, but no one seems particularly well hinged in this story.
So Brian never actually met Jesse anyway, because before they actually were due to meet up, they had a fight and the relationship ended. But then guess what she did? She actually goes back to Thomas Montgomery. She's still talking to this guy,
Mm.
knowing that he's like an old man. So here's one of their exchanges. Tom, should I call him Tommy in this? I'll call him Thomas because we know he's an old man now. Thomas, you mean shit to me. Jesse, why are you talking to me then? Thomas, I don't know. Why fuck me over like that? Jesse, let's start as friends again. Thomas, why? Jesse, because we meant a lot to each other and I miss and love Tommy and I don't want him to die. Thomas, he's still in my heart. It's like, fucking, you're a 48-year-old man. Just tell her. We should stop talking now. I've been busted. Like, at some point, he's got to fucking just be the adult, right?
He's
Anyways,
probably
so
living more in his reality, in his constructed world than his actual world, And it's escapism, isn't it? If he is
yeah,
so miserable with his life, he's happier living in his little fake world, even though he knows.
exactly. So he doesn't want this Tommy Marine Sniper fantasy to die either. So they basically start talking again as friends. Um, so they even do this, like, the dorky thing where they reintroduce each other with their real names and ages, and that now they're friends online as as their genuine personas.
Mm.
They confide in each other. And then for some reason they start going off on one about Brian. Thomas says that Brian made a deadly enemy out of him and tells Jesse his heart has been turned to stone and he wants to eliminate Brian. Um, and even Jesse is like, dude, that's a bit much, no? Like, you want to kill him? Thomas is clearly massive, like harboring massive resentment against both of them still, and he's just not processing it well. He says to Jesse that he nearly killed Brian the day after you two assholes told me you were fucking with me. Just Thomas tells Jesse not to talk to Brian anymore. It's like, you're a 47-year-old man acting like, "Oh, I can't be friends with you, you can't be friends with him and be friends with
Mm.
me." So like, even though they now seem to have a relationship that's based in truth, it still seems even more fucked up than it was before. right? Like the way they're
mhm.
talking to each other is just gross. Jesse, here's a little exchange. Jesse says, I miss Tommy. Thomas says, you killed him inside of me. Jesse, I'm so sorry, Tom. Thomas, I want to hold you and kiss you so bad. Jesse, make love to me, Tommy.
Oh.
So they're going back to being flirty, sexy,
Mhm,
blah blah blah. Oh, I can't even. I'm sorry, I put some more
mhm,
exchanges.
mhm. Yeah, no, don't. I can't handle all that.
Yeah, basically, it's one message where he's like, "I want to slide it in and come in a minute." Like,
Oh,
anyways,
it makes it worse. We've seen the picture,
yeah.
and
So
yeah, no.
so Jesse is still flirting with other people in the gambling rooms and whatever. And I guess in the chat rooms, everyone can see. You could probably have like private chats, but then you probably have like the room chat. So she's
I
flirting with
prefer the
people.
Sawney bean gross detail.
Yeah. So
Oh
they're
my gosh.
like, so she's flirting with other people in the group chats in, so Thomas can see. And I'm
Hmm.
like, how much poker playing is actually getting done? Because there's a lot of fucking chatting and sexting.
Mm.
So Thomas is convinced that she's just trying to hurt him. And I don't know why he doesn't think, oh, well, she's 18 with no life or relationship experience. So she doesn't know what she's fucking doing. She doesn't know how to process emotions because she's still young, you know?
Hmm.
Ugh. Again, more sexting. I can't,
Oh
I
no,
don't want
don't
to, yeah,
count.
okay. Just you see a whole bunch of these exchanges if you watch the documentary, which I really recommend. Um, he starts threatening her, leave me alone or I will hurt you physically. He
Hmm.
even threatened her mum. I don't know if she's in the fucking gambling rooms or whether he threatened her mum via Jesse. But it kind of seems like he's constantly going back to her too. And I feel like you could probably block people in these poker rooms or just go
Hmm.
to a different fucking platform.
They're addicted to the drama.
That's it. Yeah, exactly
Because
that.
especially if he was having such a dull life before, he's probably thinking, wow, this is great. This is a little exciting, even if it's like negative excitement, you know?
Yeah. Jesse leaves him alone for a while, but then tells him her mum wants to speak to him. Her mum tells Thomas to leave her daughter alone. Like, yeah. Thomas says, okay, but you tell her to leave me alone too. And it's like, you're the fucking grown up here.
Hmm.
So anyway, Jessie defies her mom and still talks to Thomas. And then she even starts talking to Brian again. So Thomas Montgomery didn't know until he saw Brian's name on her MySpace page that they were friends again or whatever. And it's like, what is this 47-year-old man even doing on MySpace? I mean, I'm 7 years younger than him, and I felt too old for MySpace most of the time
Hmm.
MySpace was around. So it's like, what the fuck are you doing on it? Anyway. He approached Jessie about why she's still talking to Brian. She said, we're just friends. And Thomas goes apeshit. Says, like, you're gonna pay now, bitch. You better be very afraid. What the fuck is wrong with you? Jessie tells Brian that Tom is pissed off that they're talking again. And Brian says he doesn't care what Tom thinks. It's like, is Brian the only fucking adult here?
And so Brian is Brian in his true form.
Yeah,
Online, okay, fine.
yeah.
In his true form, online and in the real world. Okay, same.
Online and in real life, Brian is 22 years old,
Okay.
working in the factory, studying to be a teacher. Brian tells Jessie that Thomas tried to kill him in the car park one day. Thomas is starting to get super abusive, as we already saw with Jessie.
Hmm.
He says things like, you just want Brian's cock in you. She does. I don't ever want you to meet, I don't ever want to meet you or see you unless you're being gang raped by N-words. Like, sorry for sharing such fucking horrible shit, but I just wanted to get across like the headspace that this guy is
Hmm.
in.
Hmm.
Fucking unhinged, right? Really abusive,
Hmm.
really vengeful, nasty shit that's coming out of his mouth to someone he thinks is an 18-year-old girl.
Yeah.
And then he sends her messages like, "Are you here? Hey, whore, suck your boyfriend Brian's cock today." It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, it just baffles me because it's just like. So on 10 p.m. on Friday, the 15th of September, 2006, Brian leaves work and goes to the car park and gets in his truck. Someone comes up to his truck and shoots him. This bit is like really upsetting. Brian had no plans that weekend, and this was on a Friday after work. So his body wasn't found for 2 days.
Oh, no. Oh my God. And this was in a car park.
Yeah. So his car was in the van, in his truck, and they didn't find
Oh
him, I guess,
no.
until there were 3 bullet holes in the driver's side window. So it was like execution style.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Brian must have thought, what the fuck is wrong with this old man that he's doing all this teenage drama shit? But he
Mm-hmm.
must never have thought, like, I'm in genuine danger here.
Mm-hmm.
But the internet was Thomas's world, and he saw Brian as a threat to his world. And even though he was mad at Jessie, she was a woman, and Marines don't kill women. And anyways, he was clearly
Oh.
guided by his cock.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, they kind of suspected Thomas really early on. Um, I guess because they knew about, this Brian had told people at work about what had been going on, and
Mm-hmm.
that would have been scandalous. Like, if you heard about that, about colleague doing that shit, you'd be gossiping about that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it was just very easy to start looking at Thomas Montgomery. They were really worried that Thomas was going to go after Jesse because he'd already killed someone
Mm-hmm.
in this love triangle. So the police worked really hard to track down that this woman that they knew that Brian and Thomas were fighting
So
over.
where had Tommy run away to?
Um,
Thomas. Thomas.
no, they hadn't arrested him yet. They were
Okay,
still
okay,
trying to track him down.
okay, okay.
They went onto MySpace and they found Jesse there. And so they dispatched police to Jesse's house because, again, they thought she might be in danger because her online boyfriend relationship, whatever the fuck you want to call it, had just killed someone over her. A lady comes to the door. The policeman asked if she is Jessie. She says no, but my daughter Jessie lives in Concord, wherever the fuck that is. When the policeman asks for contact details for Jessie, the mum says she has no way of contacting her own daughter.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I know that happens, but it's very unlikely. The policeman says, well, Jessie might actually be in physical danger. So, you know. The woman was nervous and emotional, and she finally breaks down and admits that she is Jessie, and she's been using her daughter's name on the internet and her daughter's pictures. So I guess at this point she finds out, like, look, someone actually got murdered over this shit, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I know I'm a childless divorcee, but it seems especially fucked up to use your daughter as your online character,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you're using these pictures and talking to old men sexually. Because
And do we
remember,
do
she
we
knew at one point that she eventually found out that Thomas was a 40 whatever year old
yeah.
man. She's still fucking talking to him using her
Do
daughter's profile.
do we know why the real daughter wasn't speaking to her anymore?
I'll get to that.
Mm.
So, so this woman is called Mary Sheeler, and she is a fucking fuck.
Mm.
I couldn't find pictures of her online, but what I did was I took a picture of my TV while I watched the documentary. So I'm going to show you a picture of her. Sorry, it's not very good because, like I said, I did what I could do for the people. There you go. Okay, let's share the screen.
Mm. Yeah, I remember.
I mean, you can see why she would like the attention of posting pictures of her stunning daughter. Because, those are a genuine, real person. It was her actual daughter. The attention she must have got is obviously not quite like the attention she would be getting in real life, I'm
Mm.
guessing. So again, fantasy world, right? Um, like But I do think like Mary Sheeler and Thomas Montgomery, they fucking deserve each other. Do you know what I mean? They're both like lying, gross
Oh
scum.
gosh, yeah. And like they've li literally, what is the word? Not duped. They double crossed. Is that the right
I don't
word?
know. But like imagine Thomas went and actually found Jesse, the real Jesse, because he's going off photos, and
Mm-hmm.
like kidnaps her or kills her. Like I
Mm-hmm.
know that's an extreme, but like
Yeah, her mother did not take that into account. Or maybe she did and is that's not her primary concern because she's having too much fun in her fake
and I know
world.
this is like a time where we were less aware of the internet dangers, 2005, 2006. But you know, you wouldn't want to risk fucking your daughter, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Thomas had called Jessie after the murder to tell her that her boyfriend, Brian, was easy to take care of. Thomas denied the murder immediately, but they found a peach pit with Tommy's DNA near the truck, which I imagine could be explained away easily because it was his workplace too. So he could easily be
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, of course I walked across the car park and threw a peach pit. But the gun clip next to the truck matched a gun that Montgomery owned.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas Montgomery had also boasted about how it was going to be, how he was going to kill someone, how if he was going to kill someone, it would be using this very specific old rifle, which is exactly the rifle that was used. And they could tell from the shell casing which gun had been used, but the gun itself has never been recovered. But they actually managed to find pictures of his house, like weirdly, a picture of Cindy on her bed, not in a sexual pose or anything, just like
Mm-hmm.
hanging out. And in the background, you can see the gun case and you can see a photo, you can see the gun. So he's obviously disposed of the gun after he used it to kill someone, but they've got evidence that at one point he did own the gun that was used to murder Brian.
And Cindy Thomas's wife.
Yeah. Um, so they arrest Thomas, and here's the kicker. At this point, he still thinks that Jessie is an 18-year-old girl. So there's a moment after his arrest when he's being interrogated where they actually tell him, you know, this girl that you've killed someone over, it's actually the mother. It's actually someone probably in their 40s as well, lying about their age, lying about who they are for attention online. And I would have loved slash hated to see that moment where he finds out I've
Mm-hmm.
killed someone, I've been arrested for it, I'm gonna lose my family, everything.
Do you know what? That was the moment in the documentary I was like, wow, bad decisions can really just fuck with 1,000 people's lives, you know?
Yeah.
Wow.
So they
Yeah,
actually
that
show
was the
him a
mo
picture of Mary Sheeler, and they're like, that's who you're talking. That's who you're talking to.
How
Apparently
did
the
he
blood,
react? Do you remember?
well, apparently the blood drained from his face and he didn't say anything. Because, you know, he said he honestly believed he was talking to an 18-year-old blonde with no sense. So he's like really misogynistic, like sexist comments that he starts making
Mm-hmm.
because she believed that he could be playing poker online while he was on active duty. It's like, why wouldn't she?
Yeah.
I would believe
Because
that.
this is not common knowledge.
Do you know what I mean? We're not in the
Yeah.
fucking Marines.
Yeah.
We don't know
Yeah.
the rules. So Thomas still doesn't confess to the murder, and he actually tried to kill himself in prison. He said he was really down about his kids because obviously it's like, you know, no one reported that he was a bad father.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he had a lot of love for his kids, and he must have realized obviously this is going to fuck with our relationship if, you know, if not
Mm-hmm.
end it. Thomas tried to go for the insanity defense, but psychiatrist says he was not insane. The murder was too well thought out. It was clearly planned. It was covered up, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
Not well, because he got arrested, but he then said he had an alibi, that he was at home with his wife and daughters. But Cindy, the legend, was like, no, he was out that night. So she's clearly like, I am not fucking dealing with your shit anymore. You can go
Mm-hmm.
fuck
Mm-hmm.
right off. They do play in the documentary a really horrible audio of a phone call
Oh,
between Montgomery and his daughters, where he's telling them he's going to get out and he's going to protect them from this and that he loves them and whatever. And they're saying they love him too because they're like I said,
oh,
clearly young teens. I would
yeah.
say from the voice,
Mm-hmm.
and that's their dad.
Yeah.
And he's at this point denying murder, so he's probably like, it wasn't me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um. He says he didn't want to put his daughters through a trial, so he debated talking about a plea. His lawyers told him that an acquittal was impossible, so they should cut their losses and plead guilty to first-degree murder. He's sentenced to 20 years. Um, if he had not pleaded guilty, if he tried to continue maintaining he was innocent and got found guilty, he would have probably got 25 years to life, which
Mm-hmm.
means little chance of ever getting out. So this way, pleading guilty means a lighter sentence, and it means that if he behaves in prison, which you know how I feel about time off for
Mm-hmm.
good behavior in fucking prison, then he might only serve 17 years.
So wait, he's still in prison now. How many
Yeah.
years has he got left?
2008, I think. So we'll come to that. Don't make me
Mm-hmm.
do maths right now. So Max Bieber, remember clinical psychologist, case crush,
Mm-hmm.
says that from the perspective of anyone who cares for Brian, the sentence is an insult. Agreed. I don't even care about Brian. No, that's not, I mean, I never met him, so I don't know him personally, and I find it an insult.
Mm-hmm.
The documentary ends with Brian's parents and brothers. The parents are speaking about how they had no idea about Thomas causing issues for Brian at work. But Brian probably didn't think it was anything that serious. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and he's 22-year-old lad. Like, he's probably not talking to his parents about his love life and this, that, and the other. Um, but it was really sad because, like, they even had Brian's dad talking about how he blames himself for showing Brian the job ad in the first place.
Mm.
It's like, it is not your fault at all. Do you know what I mean? There's one
Oh,
person whose fault it is, and
yeah.
another person who should accept some responsibility. Um, and it's not the dad for showing the advert.
So did Mary not get in trouble? Because I remember there was a
Wait,
case.
let me get to
Oh, yeah, because I was just gonna say, I
let me
remember.
get to it.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay.
Brian's mom questions how a mother could use her daughter like that. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay, it's not just me and you that are like, what the actual fuck? I mean, could you imagine ever doing that?
No, I don't even want to think about it.
Okay, no, I just needed to ask a mother of a
No,
daughter.
don't
Sorry,
even
because
think about it.
Um, and again, it's like important to remember that obviously we're a true crime podcast, so like we cover the extreme cases, and we do it in order to highlight some of the real life dangers. And catfishing online is dangerous. At the very least, it's cruel. But at a time where so much happens online and it's so much more normal to meet someone online and develop relationships online, you always have to remember you are dealing with real people and real emotions, but also that you might not be dealing with real people and real emotions. So just be fucking aware, like treat people online how
Oh.
you would in person. I don't. So Mary Sheeler wasn't charged with anything because technically she was not criminally guilty of anything. So I say criminally guilty, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I think we can all agree that she played a huge role in this. And I don't think for a minute that she is responsible for a murder.
But there was a case recently, and maybe
Yes.
this is different, but where I think they were teenagers as well, where a girlfriend was convincing her boyfriend to commit suicide, and he did.
Yeah. Okay. So that's different because
Mm-hmm.
Mary never actually actively said anything about,
Okay.
trying
Okay.
to get him to hurt Brian. But
So
she,
so there's no legal responsibility from her side.
no, she
Wow.
lied a lot online.
And is that just the state she lived in? Because you know how, like, for
No,
example,
but
fucking
let me
Dr.
let me get
Klein.
to it. I haven't
Okay,
even
okay.
finished it.
Go.
Okay, so she's legally, criminally not guilty of anything. I think, she definitely fucked around with these two people a lot. Um, and it's naive to think that you can fuck around with people's emotions for that long without something coming to head, right? Like it's not going to end well. And especially seeing as like Thomas Montgomery proved time and time again that he was emotionally unstable. That's why I read some of those messages he said. And again, this is a woman of a similar age to him. So you would have thought she'd be like, hang on a minute, this guy is fucking nuts. I'm going to stay clear. And she never did that at any point. So she should have known it was going to end badly. But again, she clearly liked the attention, maybe the drama as well. Brian's dad was saying basically she wasn't put in prison because she didn't break any laws. And so I was wondering, oh, is there a law now? Because again, it would have been different if she was telling Thomas, go kill this guy. Do you know what I mean?
Doesn't it still come under some sort of cyberbullying, although it's not cyberbullying, but surely there's some sort of all-encompassing law about fucking horrendous behavior online.
Okay, so imagine if this happened in person. That there's a woman, an 18-year-old girl, let's just assume she's real, and she's flitting between two guys, and one of them gets so angry and kills the other one. You wouldn't ever in a million years think that that girl had done anything legally.
Yeah, but it's a deception. It's the fact that
here there's a deception, yeah. But again, she's not, there was no messages telling him to hurt Brian or any of that stuff.
True.
So I was wondering, is it different now? Are there stricter laws? Are the laws keeping up with the development of life online, let's say? So then so we'll get back to that. But then the documentary goes on to Tim Sheeler. I'm not sure if I'm saying their name right. Sheeler or Schuyler. Anyways, it's Mary, her newly divorced ex-husband. So basically, she, at the time of all this, was also still married to Jesse's dad. And he's such a cutie. He's so cute. The interviewer asks if Mary is remorseful, and he says he doesn't think she is. It's like, at least have a bit of fucking dignity enough to, like, you know. He says she is responsible. She actually only told the family about the whole thing when she had to go to New York to testify to the grand jury. So she didn't even tell her own family the full story until she absolutely had to. So not when the police came to the door or anything. She just kind of pretended like, oh, I do online gambling, and two guys in the rooms that I go into regularly, one killed another one. So they're interviewing a bunch of us. She didn't.
Did any psychologist say what the hell's going on with any of these? I mean, Mary, what is this?
I mean, we've had running commentary from Max Bieber, my case crush. So
yeah.
But anyway, hang on. So she only told the family last minute. She made it out to be all Thomas's fault. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is Thomas's fault. But she was, like I said, just pretending that she didn't even really have a personal relationship with him or whatever. She was just regularly in the same poker room as him, and they were just interviewing lots of people. It was Jessie, again, poor actual real Jessie, the daughter whose identity had been basically stolen by her own mother to talk to men online and to sext men. It was her that had Googled the case and found out about the details. The dad is heartbroken that that's how Jessie found out. Because, like, that's her own mother. And when she came to her dad, she asked him, Daddy, did you know about this? Can you imagine that poor girl finding that out about your own mother and then, like, having to ask your dad? And he didn't know about any of it.
And do we know why she wasn't speaking to her mother? We still not know.
No, she was speaking to her mother when the police came to the door and asked for Jessie's details. Mary didn't want to give them because she knew she had stolen Jessie's identity. She didn't want the fucking police going and being like, "You've been talking to these people online," because Jessie would be like, "No, I haven't. What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yeah.
So they were at that point. They were talking.
Oh, okay.
Mary was just trying to keep the whole thing away from Jessie because she didn't want it coming out, you know? They now don't talk. Surprise, surprise.
Mm.
And the dad says that he thought they had a happy life. So apparently Mary has never apologized to her daughter for what she did.
Mm-hmm.
And Max Bieber, case crush and clinical psychologist, says there would need to be a lot of forgiveness if Jesse and Mary were ever able to repair their relationship. But then he gives like some of the best life advice I've ever heard that it makes me want him to marry Cindy, my other case
Oh
crush.
yeah.
Never forgive those who are not repentant. I need that fucking shit tattooed on me, huh?
Yeah. I mean,
I know it sounds
yeah.
obvious, but basically, Mary's not remorseful. So Jessie should not ever be expected to forgive her mother for what she did if this woman is not even fucking sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Mary Sheeler now lives with her own parents. Um, it took 6 months, um, and a PI and a reporter, but they finally got to Mary and got her side. She wouldn't be filmed. But apparently she doesn't want Thomas to know what she looks like now because she's worried when he gets out of prison that he'll attack her or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, to be fair, yeah, like I'm not saying he would, but I mean, I can understand why she's worried about that.
Mm-hmm.
But here's what she said. She says she was bored and lonely and her kids were grown and she was like basically empty nest syndrome. It's like, get a fucking job or hobby. Do some volunteer work. Like get
It's
a
such
non-murdery hobby.
it's such an extreme thing to do out of
Or,
loneliness. There's
if you,
more to it though, isn't there? This is like delusion. This is
and if you
I
want to
don't
go and
know.
fool around with other men, fine. Leave your partner
This is
and do
like
it.
Shayna, what's her name? Shayna Goliar
Yeah.
level deception. It's at Sweet
So,
Bobby level deception. This is like planned, premeditated, calculated
out in her
deception.
mind, she's just like, just talking to people innocently online, getting attention that she doesn't get in real life, blah, blah, blah. So she says she kept talking to him, to stop. Oh, this is her defense. She was talking to him online to stop him talking to real teenagers online.
Come on.
Which is absolute fucking bollocks because she would know better than anyone. You can actually talk to more than one person online. So just because he's
Mm-hmm.
talking to her does not mean he's not talking to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
So my love, Max Bieber, doesn't believe that bullshit either. Tim Sheeler started to cry when he said that Mary was involved with the death of a 22-year-old man's life. Wait, hang on. Tim Sheeler started to cry when he said Mary was involved with the death of a 22-year-old man's life before his life got started. And that's just like, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
He said he thought multiple times about contacting Brian Barrett's family, but he's not sure how they would react. And he's not sure how he would react. But he says, and in quotation marks, it was so frivolous and stupid. It was. It was a
Mm.
bunch of idiots being fucking idiots. And this poor guy, Brian, seemed to be the only one who was like genuinely like, I'm just a 22-year-old guy who wants to play poker. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll talk to an age-appropriate girl if she flirts with me while I'm playing poker. He fucking dies, Gets murdered.
Oh, this is the fucking thing I say all the time. You could be going
Oh,
about your business, not doing
yeah.
anything wrong, and be the victim of some shit like
Some
this, you
shit.
know?
Exactly. And now if you want to feel even more sorry for Jesse, real Jesse,
Mm,
when the police confiscated Mary's computer, it's no surprise that it contained hundreds of pictures of Jessie, which isn't the weird thing because that is her mum. But because she's not a normal mum, it it looked like she had been stalking her own daughter. Like she'd been obviously wanting loads of photos to use for her online persona. So there's loads of pictures that clearly Jessie was unaware were being taken. Um, and she had been sending these to lots of men, not even just Brian and Thomas. Like Kelsey, we knew that obviously. Um, and there was even videos
hmm
that you could tell Jesse didn't know were being filmed. She even filmed secretly up Jesse's short skirt and emailed it to lots of guys asking them if they liked it. She upskirted her own daughter and then shared it with pervy men online.
At this stage in the story, there's nothing that's shocking anymore about this mother, huh? But you know, uh, the worst thing about it is the risk she put her daughter
Yeah.
in, you know, because
It wasn't even like she
yeah.
found some random person online and like stole all the pictures.
Mhm.
She's using her fucking daughter. And like
Yeah.
you say, it's a risk because you don't know if any of these guys are going to develop an obsession or blah, blah,
Mhm.
blah.
Exactly that.
So Mary's son, Tim Jr., didn't want to be interviewed on camera. I got the impression he's still in touch with his mum. So no judgment there. That's his mum. I don't know how you fucking process this shit. But he said that he's seeing her spending lots more time on the computer again, and he is worried.
Mhm.
So at this point, you obviously realize that even though Thomas Montgomery is being interviewed throughout, it's because he is actually being interviewed from jail. He says that he thinks Mary should be sitting where he is, and it's like, we can say that. You can't fucking say that.
Mhm.
Um, so this is part of the documentary that I thought could do with cutting down a bit because Thomas Montgomery faced justice, so that part of the story is less shocking. A man killing another man over a girl, we sadly hear that a lot, and he actually got, justice was served there, if you're okay with the sentence. Um, and it's not even that shocking that an old man fell in love with a teenager. But the most shocking element is the fact that Mary could use Jesse in this way. But the documentary starts making out that she's equally responsible.
Mhm.
And this is where, like I said, if there was any kind of element of her saying, "Oh, wouldn't it be great if Brian was not a issue anymore," whatever. But there wasn't any of that. It was just she was playing with their fucking emotions, you know?
Mhm.
Um, so I also didn't like because the narrator of the documentary is actually meant to be Brian Barrett's voice from the grave.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh, I don't remember that. Oh.
yeah, so because for a long time at the beginning, you're like, right, well, who's going to be the victim?
Mhm.
Because Thomas is being interviewed. You don't know that it's from jail. They made him look like he's in an office or a library or something. And you've got the voice in quotation marks of Brian Barrett narrating the documentary. So you're like, but at one point, the voice of Brian Barrett says that Mary might even be more responsible. And I definitely don't agree with that
Mhm.
because I'm sorry, only one person actually took a fucking gun and killed a
Yeah.
22-year-old young man.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. I
no,
wonder
no.
how if that documentary was made now you
Yeah,
know whether things well I'm sure it would be presented differently
yeah.
because I can't imagine
So,
that.
yeah. So that was one bit of the documentary where I was like, no, I mean, I 100% think that woman should never sleep at night again. Um, I'm sure there were people trying to pin something legal against her and couldn't find anything,
I wonder if
unfortunately.
in another state, because you know how Dr. Klein was not guilty of any crimes in his state, but
Yeah.
every state has
Well,
different laws. So I wonder if
oh.
that. Mm.
So, yeah, so it's shocking and terrible what she did, and there should have been some judicial repercussion, but she didn't murder anyone, and it's important to remember that he murdered someone. Um, Even Thomas was asking though why she didn't just use like a random girl's pictures. But I think it's because she wanted like constant supply, right, of photos and stuff. And maybe easier for her to actually have a real person to base this persona on.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and then Max Bieber, love of my life, gives another bit of good advice. He says, "Be nice, don't lie," which is another
True.
tattoo. Thomas Montgomery appealed his case because he says that he was pressured into pleading guilty. And the Barretts, Brian's family, are working on creating new internet laws. Tim Sheeler is dating, which was like, oh, good for
Oh,
you.
yeah. And what do we know about Jessie?
Jessie is rebuilding her life without her mum. And then the documentary signs off with Max Bieber talking about fantasies, that fantasies can mix with creativity to become a beautiful thing, or they can mix with our base urges to become evil and selfish. It's the best and the worst of us.
Oh, interesting.
So I know a lot has been done since on fraud laws,
Okay.
laws protecting against romance scammers, and also things like upskirting, which is
Mm-hmm.
probably where they might have been able to get her if it happened now, is
Yeah.
like the videos and the images that she took of her daughter without her daughter's knowledge and shared online.
Mm-hmm.
That is possibly something that she could have got.
Especially if Jessie was a minor, right? Surely that makes, I
I
don't
think she
know.
might have been 18, but in any case, they have changed some of the laws. There's no law against lying online or in person, sadly, unless you're trying to unless you use it to manipulate them, to get money, some kind of personal gain, sexual, et cetera, et cetera. So I looked at UK laws rather than the US laws because, they confused me, the state laws and the national laws or
Mm-hmm,
whatever. So I
mm-hmm.
looked at
Federal laws, huh?
yeah, so I looked at uh, romance fraud is defined. Oh, I was on the Sussex police website because they had a lot of useful information about this, and we'll post some links because in the show notes because it's fucking interesting and useful. Romance fraud is the engineering of a supposed friendship or relationship for fraudulent financial gain. So
Okay.
again, specifically financial, which is interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
No law against them just fucking lying to you and breaking your motherfucking heart.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so that might still not be applicable to this case, but again, the upskirting laws, in the UK anyways, they added the 2019 Voyeurism Act came into play. And according to the gov.uk website, again, I'll post this in the show notes, offenders can face up to 2 years in jail, with more serious offenders put on a sex offenders register. This act outlaws upskirting, where the purpose is to obtain sexual gratification or to cause humiliation, distress, or alarm. This includes instances where culprits say images were just taken for a laugh, or when paparazzi are caught taking intrusive images. So it created two new offenses under the Sexual Offences Act of 2003.
Mhm.
This the changes will cover England and Wales. Upskirting is already a public offence in Scotland. Go Scotland. So the new law captures instances where the purpose is to obtain sexual gratification or cause humiliation or distress or alarm. And I would argue that she was trying to obtain sexual gratification by getting these guys fucking flirting with her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think that that would have been more likely the thing that they would have been able to do her for, if anything.
Yeah. God, it's just mind-blowing. I wonder if in Mary's normal life or in her real life, whether anyone would suspect her of something like this, or whether she really had a double life. You know how some people, like the pillars of the community, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How they really, I really wonder whether she's someone who everyone would be like, yeah, you suspect her to do something like that, or whether it shocked the people that knew her, you know?
And this woman's just sitting on her sofa creating her own fantasy little world. And suddenly, as a result, someone's fucking murdered about it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Anyways, that's the case of Tall Hot Blonde. And I
Do you
wanted to cover
know,
it because you mentioned it so many times. And
yes.
it wasn't just in the last episode, or you mentioned it in a previous one. And I was
Oh
like, that
yeah.
was such an interesting case because it was like already fucked up.
Yep.
And then it gets more fucked up.
Yep.
And then you find out that Jesse's not even a fucking 18-year-old girl. So all of it is for nothing. I mean, it's for nothing anyways, but you know what I mean? It's just,
Yeah. Do you know, I still struggle. Those are the ones. I generally, the crime stories that I obviously prefer are the ones that don't involve murder, but the ones that have twists and turns and are multifaceted and ugh, those
where
ones are,
you're still trying to process this thing, and then fucking the next thing happens, and you're like,
uh-huh.
yeah. So anyways, Tall
Yeah.
Hot Blonde, really recommend the documentary. like I said, I only had one little problem with it. But I thought it was so fucking good. It's one of those documentaries where they're actually interviewing the perpetrator, which is creepy. It's always next level creepy, but it is fascinating to actually hear what those people are trying to say
Yeah.
about themselves. And Max Bieber, my
Yep.
new god.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a rewatch. This calls for a rewatch
It
because
does.
I
And the movie.
so Courtney Cox, who does Courtney Cox play in this? The mother?
Well, this is Courtney Cox of 15 years ago
Oh,
because it was
oh,
2009, I think. Well,
okay.
maybe a bit later.
Oh, I'm gonna find
I
this
don't
film.
know.
Okay. Because I knew the main plot, but all the little details I forgot. But oh,
So I think we need some light relief.
you know what? I'm so glad toward the end of the season we covered the Jinx about Robert Durst and this because these for me were, I mean, I really those were there's I struggle to find stories that shocked me more, you know?
Yeah, yeah, because they are just
So many things going on. So many
just
different things.
so difficult to understand the people's motivations.
Yeah, and the thing is it's I find it so much more interesting to try to understand the like Levi Belfield, where, as we said before, and as Colin Sutton said, is the textbook serial killer, you
Hmm.
know?
Like I was gonna say, you get it. I don't get it, but like he got his rocks off doing this act,
Yeah, he
and he
followed,
just did it over and over again.
yeah,
Whereas,
he's like
yeah.
the textbook formula of a serial killer, you know?
Plus,
That
also, these people involved are so they start off such normal people. Do you know what I mean? They're like normal people.
mm,
You've got Levi Belfield, who's like a wrong'un. Everyone always said
hmm.
right from the start. This is a guy who works at a fucking factory. He's a Sunday school teacher with his wife and 3 kids. Mary as well has got grown kids, just sits on the sofa, plays online poker or whatever.
And
Do you
this
know what
is
I
why
mean?
we have trust issues.
So
Oh,
they're just normal people.
yeah,
Or they
they're
start off
yeah,
and then it just escalates so fucking
yeah,
yeah. So it's just that element scares me that it's like
exactly, exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
Anyway,
Yeah, the unpredictability of
listen, I need some fucking light relief
okay,
because it's late. So
oh, okay,
people's pulse.
okay. So do you want to say who chose this People's Pulse topic today?
I do because we talked about her, I think
Yes, we
maybe not
did.
the last episode, but one before or
Yeah.
whatever. But my dear friend Vicky, who I absolutely adore, who sent me the JB conspiracy t-shirt with Jessica
Mm-hmm.
Fletcher.
Yeah. Last
And the
episode.
rum. Oh, was that the last? It
Yeah.
was the last episode, yeah.
Yep.
So she very kindly submitted a really, really, I think, good question for People's
Yeah.
Pulse. So thank you, Vicky.
Okay. So the topic for today's People's Pulse is weird food combinations. Now, you know how like sometimes our respondents misunderstand the question? I think
Isla?
that's what happened. But I tell you what's come out of this is that I've learned some really good food combinations. So
Okay.
I want you to be the judge of whether you think it's a gross combination or a good one.
All right.
Okay?
Bear in mind I'm vegetarian.
Okay, I don't think
Oh,
there's any if I don't think
well,
there's
there
any.
was one submitted by Joanne. Let's start with hers because it's the
Okay,
one
and
that
I've
she
got them in order.
submitted to me. Oh, okay.
Oh, I've
You
got them in
go.
order.
No,
Got
no,
okay.
no.
So,
Go do your
okay.
thing.
So, sorry, because he yawned.
You know what though? I have spent uh, the whole week trying to think if I like weird food combinations.
I don't have one either, but maybe we'll th remind each other if we do.
Maybe, or maybe maybe they're so fucking weird, but we are as well, and we just think it's normal. We do have a dad who's got very weird food combination
Oh
things.
yeah, yeah.
He likes to have cheese and Nutella or
No,
cheese and
and
jam
jam. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting because Che the other day, I made
on
him a ham and
bread.
cheese. Yeah, I made him a ham and cheese sandwich, and then he's like, "No, I want jam in it." But sometimes he fucks with you just to, push the boundaries. So I thought he was fucking with me, but he actually ate two ham and cheese with jam sandwiches. I was like, maybe it's not that weird. Because I guess jam is not that different to chutney, right?
Or like a glaze, a fruit glaze, which you
And
often
it's
do have
not
on meat.
that
Honey
much.
roast ham.
And like cranberry sauce that you have with a roast, or applesauce like you have with pork. So I guess it's not that weird, but who fucking decides what weird food is? Because yeah, why is cranberry sauce with a roast okay?
Yeah.
But jam and cheese is not. Anyway, so okay,
Tell me what we got.
we're gonna start with Fave Sam. And remember, I want you to say whether you think this is good or weird. He says this: strange food combinations. Cheese and onion sandwich eaten with Cadbury's chocolate as an accompaniment to the sandwich. Now I was like, okay, do you mean like main course and dessert? Because that's not weird. Like sandwich and then chocolate. So I said, do you alternate? Like, do you have a mouthful?
Yeah. A bite of this and then a little square of Cadbury.
Is that the weirdness of it? And he said, yeah, he alternates. So he's gonna have a mouthful of cheese and onion sandwich and then the chocolate as a palate cleanser, I'm guessing.
See, I like both of those things, and I could imagine myself being like, fuck it, I'll do what I want. I'll eat them together.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not grossed out by that.
Definitely not grossed out.
I think
And actually, I might even try it. Yeah.
I think I might even do the same thing, you know, when you're like, oh, I just want a little taste of that, you know.
Because we like to make a little snack platter.
A
I say platter. Yes, to make it sound fancier. We like to have just random food in front of us and just pick and eat.
And then he says, tuna mixed with onion and chive cottage cheese with sliced celery and red onion. I'm thinking this sounds nice. The only thing weird is that it's so healthy. Originally done as low-fat jacket potato filling, but discovered it's best eaten on toast with Tabasco sauce first thing in the morning. So, weird or not weird? Tabasco in the morning is a little hardcore.
I'm vegetarian and I still think that sounds nice.
Yeah. I think the weirdness of Fave Sam's contributions are the alternating between chocolate and cheese and onion.
Yeah, but I'm still okay with that.
And Tabasco in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay, so our friends over at Like Murder podcast, amazing podcast, love them. And hello, Rachel and Heather.
Hi.
They dip popcorn in nacho cheese. Now,
what? How? With a spoon? For me, I'm like, I don't like it being messy.
I know, because your fingers are going to get the nacho cheese. I mean, I don't know the logistics of it, but it doesn't sound like a bad idea.
Yeah, I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this. Again, another one I'm going to try. Maybe we need to publish a recipe book
of weird
snacks.
Yeah. So then our newfound friend Jane says, I hate milk but love cream. Said, I love yogurt on cereal with a splash of cream and a sprinkle of jelly tots. I'm going to say this is probably
Wait. Slow down. Cereal with yogurt.
Yeah. Listen.
No, but what cereal? Because if it's like granola, then that's
okay. But the jelly tots.
I know, but I haven't even got there yet because it was just a lot of fucking shit.
She said cereal. She said cereal. She said yogurt on cereal.
If it's like fucking Cocoa Pops with yogurt. Actually, that does sound nice. And then what was it?
Splash of cream.
Uh-huh.
Sprinkle of jelly tots. I'm gonna go with weird, yeah. Because I'm
gonna go with weird.
Yeah.
But also possibly delicious. But also I need to know what kind of cereal. Oh, wow. Jane, can you tell us what cereal? Because I feel like that's a key bit of information.
This response has raised more questions than it's answered. Then jam on Yorkshire pudding. I say genius. Oh,
I would totally fucking devour that, yeah.
Yeah. Vinegar or Worcester sauce on ready salted crisps. I mean, no, I think that's good because like with fish and chips you have vinegar on them, don't you?
Yeah. She's basically making her own fucking salt and vinegar chips.
Yeah, then dipping crisps in hummus. Everything with hummus is good in our world.
Yeah, nothing you can't dip hummus. Yeah.
Jane, love everything that you suggested. Jelly tots here.
But I need to know. No, I would like to reserve judgment until I know what cereal, because for some reason in my mind that makes a difference.
But whether it's granola or whether it's Cocoa Pops, it's the jelly tots factor.
Yeah. That's
slightly unorthodox, should we say? Since we don't like the word weird, but we use it a lot.
Yeah. Unconventional.
Yeah. So then our friend Coventry Karen says,
Hi, Coventry.
I don't know if this is weird, but I do like butter, Marmite, and soft cheese on crumpets. Yes, yes, I agree. But they have to be like really cooked, brown and crispy. Now, I totally fucking agree with this because I had
Wait, so
Philadelphia
butter, Marmite, and what
soft cheese on crumpets, and I fucking love
at the
this.
same time?
Deanna, that combination sounds perfect. Like imagine
Yeah.
Philadelphia with Marmite with butter. I actually had Philadelphia on crumpets the other day, and it fucking was beautiful because I didn't have butter. It was like I've got Philadelphia, kind of the same-ish. So yeah,
Yeah,
that
no,
is
I'm okay with
delicious.
that.
Delicious.
Oh, I do put ricotta on crumpets.
Well, there
Same
you
thing.
go. There you
Yeah,
go.
but I've
So
never done this
then
combo.
our friend Michelle, who is our lovely, not only lovely friend, but she designed our logo for the podcast.
Where's the kitchen?
This is the only meat one I think that we got. And she says, I like to eat marmalade with sausages. She says, honestly, try it. It's delicious. I actually can imagine it is.
No, yeah, because again,
The
cranberry type.
yeah, with the roast and like applesauce with pork. Love it.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah,
fucking try that. I absolutely
yeah.
will try that.
Veggie
Then
sausages, but I will.
Isla. Now we know Isla is a liar when it comes to her submissions. She gives us not the honest answer.
You tell me what she says, and I'll tell you the fucking
She
truth.
gives
So
us the PR approved answer.
she's been media trained,
Yes,
yes.
she says, now this is a fucking cop out and a half, and we know damn well that she eats some weirder shit than this.
She's fucking Scottish.
I was just gonna say that, but I didn't want to offend anyone. She said, boiled rice with balsamic glaze with lots of salt.
Oh, you're going crazy there, Isla.
Yeah, rice with balsamic glaze. Every time she messages me a People's Pulse response, I'm like, no, go back, work harder, because we know there's more. So Isla,
I'm trying to think what weird shit she's eating in front of me.
I mean haggis. I don't know what haggis is. I think haggis
I've
tastes
not,
like
I've actually never seen her eat haggis, but
okay. Do you know what haggis? I don't know what haggis is, and I don't know that I want to know,
oh, I
but it
could
does
do it.
taste good. It does taste good. I know there's barley in it,
Oh,
and
that's
that's
not
not the
the
weirdest thing. I know. It's all just the liver and guts, right? It's liver and guts.
and it's like the sheep's stomach is used to hold it together
Yeah, I'm
and
okay with that. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Okay, so our dear friend Lindsay says, she says, sorry, I've been AWOL for a while, just live, never need to apologize to us ever. We get it. We get it. And okay, so she says,
oh, she's okay.
fruitcake with Wensleydale cheese. Fruitcake. Is that like Christmas pudding fruitcake, do you think?
I guess so. Yeah.
And I guess so, because like at Christmas you would have fruitcake and you would have a cheese board, wouldn't you?
Mm. Yeah.
I don't know if that's weird because
They feel like they would present themselves together very often.
yes, so it's kind of a natural thing to think, wonder if that tastes good together. But I tell you what does fucking taste weird, it's Christmas pudding.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Fruitcake. Yeah.
Yeah, like and even fruitcake, why they call it fruitcake? Is there actual fruit in it?
Fucking raisins.
Okay. Yeah, I mean I've never understood Christmas pudding. That's weird. Christmas
No.
pudding's weird. Okay, so then she says she thinks it's a Yorkshire thing and I'm from Lancashire. I think this is a Yorkshire thing and I'm from Lancashire, so should not enjoy it, but I do. And she says it just works, combo that works. Do you know, that's one I may not try only because of the
Fruitcake, but
yeah.
generally, I'm gonna say adding cheese to something is only gonna make it better in most cases.
Yeah. Then she says, and this is an interesting one, blew my mind a little bit. I also love milk chocolate, and particularly from the more chocolatey end of a Kit Kat. Yes, one end is more
Mm.
chocolatey than the other. Is that fucking true? And are we talking chunky Kit? Yes, she says chunky. One end is more chocolatey, and now I fucking have to
No, it makes sense.
investigate.
Maybe they drip dry it. I don't know.
Oh. And then she says, and taking a cheese and onion crisp at the same time. That's like Sam's cheese and onion sandwich and chocolate. Lindsay says cheese and onion crisps with chocolate. So are we fucking missing something
All right,
here?
well, we gotta try it. We gotta try it.
Cheese and onion with chocolate. They can't be wrong if two people said it.
Yeah,
That
and
also
two
reminds
people
me.
that we respect greatly.
Yes. You see, we're fucking detectives.
This is amazing. All right, go
How I
on.
made that connection. You know how people also use, and I've never done this, but fries dipped in McDonald's milkshakes is apparently otherworldly. Okay, so and then she says, I've only ever met one other person who likes this. Well, now you are aware of Sam, who also seems to like cheese and
Mhm.
onion and
And
chocolate
if you
combo.
both go to CrimeCon one year, then you can meet and discuss this further.
Now we have got Vicky.
Vicky. Yeah, because I
Vicky
told her you
says,
better fucking answer.
so Vicky says, my absolute favorite is Monster Munch dipped in a feast ice cream. There you fucking go. This is the shit we're waiting for.
Wait, what? Monster Munch?
Dipped in a feast ice cream. Now I thought a feast ice cream was ones in the stick.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's read on. Specifically flaming hot. It just doesn't pair well with other flavors. You scoop off the ice cream with the monster foots, comma, delicious.
Okay.
Is it a monster foot though, or is it a is it a monster foot? Or is it, never mind, cut that out. But I remember seeing a meme about this, whether it's a monster foot or whether it's an upside down something. I fuck it, I can't remember. Okay, so then I also love mustard and peanut butter on toast.
Yeah, that's it. That does sound weird, but also something I'm gonna try because
And I need to know, are we talking Grey Poupon?
English or French, Vicky?
I could never say or see Grey Poupon without thinking of
Thinking
Wayne's
Wayne's
World.
World.
Are we talking Grey Poupon or like hot dog mustard? Because those are two different fucking entities. Okay, then when I was she says when I was younger, I smoked too much weed and thought ice cream and ketchup was great. Oh, unpalatable.
I'm still thinking, how much younger, Vicky?
And then I haven't tried it sober to confirm whether it is in fact great or just the cannabis talking.
Well,
Ice cream
again,
with
I need to ask her what flavor ice cream. Are we talking vanilla? Are we talking
I
Rocky
don't know
Road?
why you would do that. I mean, yeah, no, I'm not on board with that. I'm not on board with that one. And then we have our Lucy B.
Lucy
Now,
B.
Lucy B, this is Lucy B just gave us a good idea for something, a nice healthy snack, which I'm gonna actually try. Peanut butter and celery.
Oh no, that's fucking delicious.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not keen on celery, but
Yeah.
peanut butter makes it better. Then
It's mainly the carrier for the peanut butter.
we have our Susie. She says our favorite lunchtime meal is either cheese on toast with crisps on top. Cheese on toast with crisps on top. Okay. Or
Yeah.
egg mayo and chip sandwich. This is all fucking nice stuff. So nice stuff with nice stuff.
Nice. Oh, you like nice stuff. Okay, good.
Okay, so basically, out of all those submissions, there was only one that sounds repulsive. The others sound out of this world.
You are missing one. It's the one that got submitted to me directly and I sent to you,
Oh, did you?
Joanne.
Okay. Oh,
I
yeah,
sent it to you on
Okay,
WhatsApp.
this is where I dropped the ball because I always say DM me on Instagram the responses because then I got it all in the same place. I have a system. My system fucking falls to pieces when they come in on
Don't
other
worry.
media.
Don't worry.
Okay, so oh, and on the topic of Lucy B, before we move on to Joanne, Lucy B had actually like the best book submission named, remember, for the memoirs?
Yeah.
But again, submitted via the wrong channel. So it fell through the net. But
Well, what was it?
Okay, so Lucy B's name was her memoirs was Jew on her period. Now that took me 2 weeks to realize the genius. I laughed when she messaged me about it because she's Jewish, so that's why Jew on her period, like spelled Jew. And then it took me 2 weeks to actually realize it's a play on words of Jew on her period, DUE. So fucking double funny and
Legendary.
and I almost feel bad like reading it out because it's too good that I don't want anyone to take it.
Well,
Because
Lucy B, you gotta write the book now.
Yeah. I mean, at least we have the publish date of when this podcast episode
This
came
is
out.
imagine the copyright, whatever.
Time
It's the
stamps.
1st of January, 2024.
And Lucy B has claimed that name because it is absolutely fucking genius. I mean, I'm just slow at getting jokes, but I thought it was funny even not understanding it. And now It's fucking double funny. So I feel really bad about that. Also, I forgot my own life hack. Remember we did life hacks a couple of weeks ago? My own life hack, because I struggle with male laundry cooking, is get all your socks in the same color.
Yeah.
All the socks the same. That's one less problem you'll have in your life. You just don't even have to spend time matching them.
Or yeah, or just do what I do, and that's be okay with wearing not matchy socks, and then you
Yeah.
don't never have to pair another sock again.
There's even a brand called Odd Socks where you can do that.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my life hack that I found. Okay,
All
Joanne,
right,
Joanne.
Joanne. So Joanne, we love you, Joanne.
Yes.
Oh, Joanne, you might be pleased to know that we are booking. I'm so excited about this. I'm going to announce it. We haven't got the tickets site up yet, but at the brewery market, we've got the next couple of events booked. So February 14th, Valentine's Day at the brewery market, we will be pairing different wines, different craft beers with killer crimes, killer couples, crimes of passion, so forth. So that's going to be our bad romance event. So if you want to go on a really cool date on Valentine's Day, come along. Or if you don't want to do anything datey on Valentine's, come along. If you want to get your girls with you and celebrate Galentine's Day, as Leslie Knope from Parks and Rec does, then come along. And then on the 23rd of April, this is how fucking organized I'm starting the year. 23rd of April, St. George's Day, which I know because I'm British now and I had to do it in the test. We're going to be pairing English beers with English serial killers and criminals. So that will be quite fun. And then we're going to be doing a Pride event in June where we will be focusing on queer-owned breweries and bringing those to your attention for tasting, and crimes that affect the queer community, either targeted, committed by the queer community, against the queer community, or within the queer community. That's me.
You'll be able to book through our
12th of June. The information is already on the website. Sign up to the mailing list if you want to get be the first to hear about when you can actually book tickets. But I just want to get those dates out. And Joanne reminded me to do so because she has very kindly come along to the events that we've had at the brewery market. And I hope to see her at them as well. And everyone else.
What is her weird food combo?
Oh, so she sent this to me directly and I threw up a bit in my mouth.
Oh, okay. Glad we're ending with this one.
Yeah. Are you waiting for me to tell you?
Oh, yeah. I thought you were.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were. Okay.
Okay. Hold on. You said you sent it to me. You said
I sent it to you on WhatsApp. I sent you a screenshot.
Oh, yes, I do remember this. Oh my God. Okay. So Joanne, this is actually fucking gross. Okay.
This is the weirdest one so far.
Yeah, I think so. I think it is. Okay. Oh, a tuck biscuit, which I think are nice. They're a bit like Ritz crackers.
Like a cracker for cheese, basically. Yeah.
Philadelphia cheese, great.
Great.
It's the last bit. Tinned mussel. That's what makes my stomach churn. I don't know why, because I like mussel.
Because it's not even a fresh mussel. It's like a tinned mussel.
Yeah, that's what it is. If it was a fresh
Didn't know that was even a thing.
No. I know there's something about certain foods when they're tinned. It's like, oh, do you know what I mean? It's a little bit like Spam or anything tinned, kind of like, unless it's beans or like soup, Heinz soup. I think maybe when it's meat, tinned meat. Yeah. Maybe that's what it is. I'm trying to work it out why I find that tinned mussel gross, but
she said it's delicious, right? What did she say underneath?
Unbelievably delish. I'm not gonna try it. And I fucking like
I'm vegetarian, so
I like mussels, but there's something about a tinned mussel, and I can't put my finger on why I find that unacceptable.
Joanne, you win the prize for the weirdest combination for sure.
Yeah. And I'm also curious about how people come up with these combinations. Is it because one day you're like, what do I have in the fridge? And it's all the random shit you have in the fridge. Is that how it happens?
Is it like because you'd like to lay out all of your snacks in front of you and then you're just
like, I don't think that I have a weird food combo. I don't think that I do. I don't think you do.
I really just genuinely don't, because I mean, I've said it like 800 times. I'm vegetarian, which eliminates a lot of
weird
food already. A potential for weirdness.
Yeah.
I mean, so I've been having a snacky day because I've been hanging and tired. So I did have yo-yos today and cheese strings fairly soon after each other, but not together, just one after another.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure that we have weird shit. I think we're just not very like
Can we just put out an appeal? Has anyone ever seen us eat weird shit? Tell us. We're curious.
Oh, I mean, I mean, we eat a lot of like foreign food growing up. That one somebody called swamp monster.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. So no, do you know what? I think like almost everyone misunderstood the assignment, but the positive that came out of that was nice snacks we're gonna try.
Yeah, loads of nice snacks. Joanne, you did not misunderstand the
No,
assignment.
you
You gave us some
understood.
fucking weird shit.
Yeah. Oh God, it's like I tell you what else is weird. It's Lucy B. I'm gonna bring up Lucy B. She fucking ate snails recently, and I cannot understand for the life of me. She'll call it escargot, but it's a snail, right? It's a bog standard
Yeah, but
garden snail.
I was talking to someone about this the other day. Like,
Oh,
we used to eat snails, but we used to eat the little garden snails, remember?
no
Little
wait.
curly whirly ones.
No, that's not garden snails. Those are sea snails, aren't they?
Sea
Cockles?
snails or
What are they
whatever. I
called?
don't, no, not,
Barnacles? I can't remember what
I
they're
don't know.
called. But you know what? Even that I couldn't do now. I think as a kid, I was more open to eating weird shit. But like, I just could not imagine. Oh,
Yeah.
eating an escargot or anything like that. I just can't. I can't imagine. Like I said to Lucy B at the time, why'd you go? Was the steak not like more appealing? Why would that? Anyway, so that's the people's pulse. Where do we go from here? I think we definitely improved the respectability of this podcast after recent people's pulse
Yeah.
questions.
I want you to, because I've put more Patreon content on, because I had a bit of a backlog. So much so I had to edit out my ex-boyfriend who came in to talk to me at one point during the recording. So apologies for the delay. So yeah, but basically I need help because I don't know whether to continue watching New Jersey for Drunk Real Housewives. Do I carry on watching? So for those of you who don't know, Drunk Real Housewives is where I get drunk and watch Real Housewives. And so far it's been New Jersey. Do I carry on and get more into the plot of New Jersey? Or do I start a new franchise? And do I do like one season of each franchise?
Do you know what I'm going to say as an expert on these matters? Is stick with the same franchise because you get to know them so well that you feel like you're one of them.
I made a teaser. Have you watched the teasers I sent you?
Not. I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna post it.
Okay, so post them because like you can see the emotional fucking journey that I went through.
Yeah. I firmly believe that you don't just dip in and out of a Real Housewives franchise. You invest. It's long game.
That is a quote of the episode, maybe the season. And on that note, I'm going to say goodnight because it's fucking late. And
Bye!
I love you and I love our listeners. Sexy listeners, thanks for joining us.
Mwah.
Bye!
Hey there! Thanks for being a loyal listener.
Do you need a new website or want to boost your social media performance? Or do you hate podcast editing? You've tried optimizing your website and social media channels, but you're still not getting the listeners, downloads, and engagement you want?
We, the Safier sisters, love helping people with tasks that they hate. We know a thing or two about podcasts, websites, and social media, and we love working with other podcasters and business owners.
So why not head over to switchbladesisterssocialclub.com and go to our Work With Us section. We believe in collaboration over competition. A rising tide raises all ships.
Bye!